Jonathan Gullis.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hosey. It's a pleasure serving your chairmanship, and I am very grateful to my honourable friend, the member for Stafford, for securing this important debate, because my constituency of Stoke-on-Trent North, Kidsgrove and Tork is fortunate to be close to the sources of several rivers, brooks and streams. Though my constituency does not have mighty torrents running through it, it is by no means immune to flooding. Through Norton Green runs the canal feeder to the Cauldron Canal and the River Trent. The river is hardly dredged, whilst the canal feeder is man-made and beset with historical issues. So when it rains, both flood, a double hit for the village of Norton Green. The river is the responsibility of the Environment Agency, and the canal feeder is the responsibility of Severn Trent Water. Two agencies which, if they coordinated their work, could help alleviate the problem that my constituents face in Norton Green when it rains. The houses in between the river and canal feeder are regularly cut off, on an island of their very own, when the Trent and the feeder flood the only roads to the village. I must give credit here to the residents of Norton Green, who pulled together, and to the three local councillors, Dave Evans, James Smith and Carl Edwards, as they lend a hand and bail water out of the village. Further downriver, properties and families who live on the strategic A53 Leek Road, the road that connects the major settlements of North Staffordshire, regularly face flooding. The road is not on a floodplain, it is relatively high up, but the water drainage from the road runs into the River Trent. When the levels of the river increase, this backs up the drainage and therefore floods the roads. It cuts the main arterial route connecting Newcastle, Stoke and Leek. Carrying on from the comments of my right honourable friend, the member for Burton, I would like to also highlight with using two examples of my constituents when it comes to tackling flooding caused by poor drainage. Firstly, Mr. David Barber contacted my team pleading for something to be done about the flooding on the avenue in Kidsgrove, which runs down a neighbour's property and obstructs pedestrians, including school children, with ankle-deep water. An investigative team from the council was sent out and discovered that there is a severe blockage in the drains on both sides of the road. The repairs are finally being made, but the stress this has caused residents is extremely unwelcome. Similarly, another constituent, Mr. Amric Ray, has been battling with poor drainage for the last 12 years. There has been 2 cases of their home being severely flooded over that period, and the family is consumed by worry every time it starts to rain. Councillors in my patch have been fighting for Severn Trent to undertake work for storm pipes to be linked to prevent the overloading of single pipes during heavy rainfall years. Residents like Amric of Braithwell Drive have been fighting localised flooding for over a decade in the city due to poor drain management. Staffordshire County Council and Stoke-on-Trent City Council continue to face funding pressures, meaning routine maintenance of gullies and highway drainage is less regular than it used to be. Across Stoke-on-Trent, though, there is a £4.2 million from various partners being spent on flood alleviation schemes, which my right honourable friend, the member for Stoke-on-Trent Central, has referred to earlier. Funding includes redirecting the River Trent downstream in the neighbouring constituency of Stoke-on-Trent Central, which will give benefits upstream to floodplains in my constituency. Locally, we suffer from Victorian drainage network, underfunded and overcapacity, and clarity is needed as to which authority, agency or company is responsible for what drainage. Disputes between Severn Trent Water and local councils in Staffordshire over who is responsible for the drains and ditches take years to resolve. The actual work needed to alleviate the flooding only take days to carry out. There is something wrong when it takes longer to establish who is responsible for the works than the time it takes to carry out improvements which are needed. We need to adjust the priority that is given to everyday maintenance of drainage and rivers and seek to amend the gap in everyday funding for such essential services.